Assalamu alaikum. I like to say I openly bear witness that there's no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger. Peace and blessings be upon him. I'd like to welcome you to Masjid An Nasr and greet you in the greeting words of JUMUAH Mubarak. Yeah. This Friday, we want to talk about respect for authority. It's a topic that was laying heavy on my heart from the conditions that I'm going through. And we must have respect for authority. In both the Bible and the Holy Quran, it teaches us to have respect for authority. And when you over people and you in authority, you must be very mindful how you treat those people. But the respect for authority, I want to start off by reading a few verses in the Holy Quran. And it says, before I start reading, I seek refuge from the curse of Satan, the despised and rejected. We want to take Surah 39, 1 through 7. Now, surely, sincere obedience is due to Allah alone. He is Allah, the One, the subduer of all. He has created the heavens and the earth with truth. He makes night cover the day and makes day overtake the night. And he has made the sun and the moon subservient. Each one moves on its own assigned terms. Now, surely he is mighty, the forgiver. He creates in the womb of your mother creation after creation in triple darkness. That is Allah, your Lord. His is the kingdom. There's no God but he. How are you then to turn away if you are ungrateful? Then surely Allah is above need of you. So when you look at that word authority, the root is the word author. The author of anything is usually the maker or creator of that thing. Allah God is referred to us as the author of all existence. Therefore, Allah, who has the greatest right to be obeyed. However, they are lesser beings that have been given privilege and exercise and authority over what they did not create. Allah demands of us respect for those lesser authorities, even obedience to those lesser authorities out of the respect of Him, the supreme authority by whom all authority has authority. We must remember, if we are believers, that nothing happened except for the permission of active will of Allah. So whoever is in authority for a reason and also for a season. So we see that Allah is the supreme authority. But in this study, um, he talks about a lesser God. In the Quran, I think it's the second surah is referred to as the vicegerent. that stands in the place of, that has authority, that Allah asks the angels to bow down to. And we'll get into that a little later. So, how did Allah and his servants handle respect for authority? Moses was given authority. All the prophets was given authority over the people. And sometimes, when we given authority, we become abusive. And the people demands a change from a leave from your authority because of abuse. But we are to respect that authority, as the Quran says, even if that authority is wicked, long as it don't conflict with our religion. Our religion of Islam gives us freedom, justice, and equality across the board. But we still have to weigh that thin line of respect for authority. That keeps us out of the controversy. It keeps us out of confusion, because Allah is not the author of confusion. Don't you know that he see that someone is abusing that authority? And if we just sit back and be patient, you'll see that overturn and overturn and overturn. But why are they permitted to stand in that place if it was going to be mischief and shedding of blood, as the Quran said? Why would Allah permit this? In the verse, he said, I know what you know not. When the angels questioned him about, why are you giving this man so much power? Don't you know it's going to be a lot of confusion and bloodshed and the shedding of blood? And he replied, I know what you know not. Sometimes people are put before us, prophets and leaders, to give us an example of what not to do. But if when our chance come up to bat, and we're just as wicked as they are, did we learn our lesson? I say not. So we often do our journey of this thing called life, run into authority that seems to be wicked. How do we handle that? Because they're going to mix feelings and controversy right there. I want to get rid of this person. But let's keep reading some more verses from the Holy Quran that deals with this matter. And it says, in exercise of authority, I seek refuge from the curse of Satan, rejected and despised. And it says in the 6th chapter, the 166th verse, and he it is who has made you a successor in the land and exalted some of you in ranks above others, that he may try you by what he has given you. Surely thy Lord is quick in recording evil, and he is surely the forgiving, the merciful. So it talks about what I spoke of earlier, the evil that these people in authority rains down on the people. And you don't think Allah see that? You think your eyes are only privileged to say, man, that's a no good. We know what? Allah is watching. And by the annals of time, the correction comes. And when you get a good leader, you be so burnt out sometimes, you just, you get a poor brother, a poor sister, pure D, you know what? Because you've been up under so much bad leadership, so much confusion, Sometimes you even hate to come. You say, man, if I go there, it's just going to be a problem. I don't even want to go. But why do Allah say respect for authority? We must have respect for that authority, even if we're not in agreement with it. Um, Many of us, when we go to court and as we sit in court procedures, we see a lot of injustice. But that judge is in authority. He has to make a decision based on the facts, and sometimes that decision is not favorable. I was in court one time, and the judge said, I'm a lesser judge. You'll go see the district judge, which has given me authority to hear your case. And you can plead guilty before me, or you can go see a higher judge. Why did I bring that incident up? Because I'm sitting in court, I'm at work, and I'm listening to this magistrate judge say this. And I'm like, why is he explaining all this? There's a reason for that. Because he's under authority of the district judge. So he works at the pleasure of someone that's higher in authority, as we work in the pleasure of Allah. And sometimes we find ourselves in charge of certain things. It might be something minor, you brother, go over there. You're in charge of the water today. Make sure everybody get a water. He said, oh, I got the water today. I'm gonna make sure everybody just get one. And somebody said, can I get another one? No, just get one. That's it. Get out of here. How would they look at that? Now you're in authority. You see, you're a lesser. You just over the water. You got somebody that might be over the whole vineyard. He give you charge of the water, and you mess that up because you've been on so much abuse in your life. It's called what we say learned behavior. But we say anything that learned can be unlearned. So we have to unlearn these bad characteristics, these bad habits that we've been up under. So when we deal with the community, I go farther into that, but we're dealing with some Quranic verses that I see is very important to set the stage. Surah 29:8, and we enjoined on man goodness to his parents, but if they contend with thee to associate others with me, of which thou hast no knowledge, obey them not. To me is your return, and I will inform you of what you did. We spoke earlier about obey those in authority as long as it don't conflict with your religion. So the Quran is giving you an example of a child that's under his parent, and his parents say, well, you ain't praying today. But Allah said, you returning to me, not your parents. Your parents was just there as a vehicle. But what you gonna do when that vehicle no longer ride? You got to go get another vehicle. Just like a car. That car gets you around for so long, and then that car break down. But Allah is the everlasting. He's always there for you. If you lean on him and only be fearful of him. Now that puts the child in a peculiar position now. He got to tell the parent, I'm going to pray to my God. So he's in the mix of mixed feelings and controversy. But Allah say, obey those in authority as long as it don't conflict with your religion. What is our religion? It's a religion of peace. So we still have rules of engagement that Allah protects the believer. So this is such a beautiful religion. It's a just religion. It's a religion of freedom, justice, and equality. Because when you go to be buried, the rich man that had $50 million and the man that had $1 is buried next to each other. There's no superiority in Allah's eyes. Only obedience. He said obedience is higher than sacrifice. So we just came off of Eid al-Ahad, where they sacrificed the animals, and Brother Imam spoke about that last week. But it is your obedience that Allah is looking for. That's going to carry you through your journey called life. And you're going to be a better human being. You're going to be able to help humanity. You're going to be able to serve humanity once you build up that strength through obedience. So when we look at respect for authority and being under wicked leadership, Allah is still watching. Me and the brother had lunch with a sister, and she was saying she was under such a wicked authority at her place of employment. And she was shaking when she get off work. She had to just calm herself down because this man was so intimidating to her. And Christian woman, real good sister. And she said, well, I called my father. He said, well, baby, just write his name on a piece of paper and put it in 37 Psalms and close the book. We're not superstitious like that, but I'm just quoting what she said. And I'm finished. I was coming to a point about justice, and Allah sees all. He don't just see some, he sees all. But the moral of the story, that this man met his demise by his son. His son ended up stabbing him 37 times and murdering him. So you don't know. And she said she called her father and said, Father, I didn't mean that. I didn't want to do it. But this how the compassion, but Allah gives justice. Moses said, well, I didn't want Pharaoh dead, but Allah said, who's God? Who's Allah? Are you Allah? I am. I'm executing justice today. See, the executor have a hard job. He must be steadfast. I've never been to the Middle East. I worked with a guy at the sheriff office there. He said, man, after JUMUAH, you been to JUMUAH? I said, yes, sir. He said, after JUMUAH, they just line the people up and bring them out. And, they poke them in the side, their head raise up, and they cut their head off. And he said, you can go watch. But that executor that's standing in the place, carrying out justice, because we know that one of the horrific crimes in Islam is rape. And the only way the woman can be healed if she see her rapist punished like that. I have family members today that's haunted by that they was molested and nobody never addressed it. So God, Allah, we look at it as, oh, that's cruel, to cut that man's head off. But justice lays down with you at night and gets up with you. You're not going to get around it, is my point. So when she said that, and You know, sometimes we didn't want the guy to die. You don't know what he was deserving of. Us in our condition, you know, we were loving people, but that's the reality of this thing. What is my point about respect for authority? So when you respect an authority, those that's in authority have to respect their own authority, or they might meet their demise under their own hand. All the kings and queens of the earth has fallen. It's only one king, the Lord of the worlds, Allah. We might admire men and women and think they're a deity. We turn them into deities. They never asked for this. But if you keep admonishing people and raising them up above their self, that's why you'll hear the brothers or the sisters say, once you compliment, oh, brother, you did a good talk. They say, all praise due to Allah. Because that ego will build up inside of you, a false ego, because it's only by Allah's permission that you stand before the people. You know, who taught you words? Who taught you speech? It was by his permission that your mother was able to teach you. And then at a certain point, she said, baby, let me tell you about God. You don't know nothing about God. You know, first thing a football player get drafted into the NFL, they say, well, I want to thank Mom and God. Because she's the first teacher. But she was in authority, but she has to respect her own authority and turn the child over to what got her that far. She said, babe, let me tell you about Allah. She had to sit him down and open up the Quran or the Bible or whatever book that she know of, that she could best explain it. And she had to explain to the child, baby, you know, it was God that helped me get this food that you could eat. It was Allah that helped me get these clothes that you could wear. So we have to be mindful when we even look at the prophets of God and start glorifying them, because they didn't ask for that. We gave that to them. You know, so we have to be mindful of any man and woman, but we must respect them if they in a certain position, that we must be obedient to them. That's so, well, I gotta be a slave to that dude, man. Hey there. But why is Allah asking you to submit? You know, some authority could be so abusive, tyrannical, in fact. And you have to stay there and take it. And you say, you're in class now. We in class. And you have the choice to leave class. And sometimes that class get heated, you know, and you say, man, I got to get out of here. But you must complete the trial. I'm up here saying, um, you know, be a slave, you know, but look at the wisdom in what you're going through. You know, one of the leaders say it was a donkey in the ditch, and everybody walked by, threw a stone at the donkey. And he said sooner or later the ditch filled up and the donkey walked out of the ditch. We think about getting hit with stones, but words can be like stones to us. Somebody can cuss you out so bad, you say, man, it's almost like they was punching you, literally punching you. And you have to stay there and take it. But you're going to walk out of that situation greater than the ones that was throwing the stones at you, throwing the harmful words at you. And that was another thing she was saying during the lunches. She was saying they were saying such awful things to me, Richard. I'm like, she said it was so awful. There was tears running down her eyes just talking about it. And she had to take it. But the cream rises to the top. She's wonderful position that they thought that she would never have. She's in authority now. And she learned from that experience and how she treat us, how she want to make sure that we're welcome. Some don't learn. Some become more abusive throughout this journey called life. And they get diminishing returns from the people. They think they're doing the people a great service. I'm going to be hard on them. Like, they was hard on me. No. Each one of us responds different. Our children responds different. You can talk to one child and he get it. One child, you may have to put the rod on, for him to get it. So you can't treat everybody as a cookie cutter. When you in authority, you say. We can't be abusive in our authority. So I'll close out the first part, and I want you to keep this in mind moving forward when you're in authority. We're going to talk about the community, the second part, and why our communities are failing. But I'll leave that for that part. I won't take anything from Allah and what He has given us to build a greater community. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. I'd like to welcome you again to Masjid An Nasr and JUMUAH prayer. We want to get into the community part now and how Allah works in the community and our leaderships and how we deal with leaders in our community, how we deal with it as a community in our personal life, in our home life. It's very important, because when we're in authority, we want people to respect us. You tell your child, don't go in that refrigerator, or don't go in that kitchen and mess that kitchen up after I clean it up. And he disobeyed you, how do you feel? You want to retribute some punishment, like get them up at 2 in the morning, clean that kitchen up. So we have to, when we're in authority, we sometimes give discipline, but we have to make sure that discipline is fair and just. To get a child up at 2 in the morning, to clean that kitchen up, that's fair, because he had been given the order by mama Don't go mess that kitchen up. I done cleaned it up now. Y'all done got something to eat, but we get hungry at the middle of the night. Mama ain't gonna catch us. We'll go in there. We'll fix something to eat while she sleep. She gets up at 3 in the morning and say, "Who been in my kitchen?" Once we clean our community up and set down neighborhood rules, man, when, keep your grass cut. That's part of the CDC. You got to keep your grass cut. You got to take your garbage can in after the garbage man come. Man, I ain't doing that. They can't tell me what to do. I'm a grown man. And sometimes you see the other people, I say the other people, they'll come out there and pull your can in. They'll come cut your grass. I went to one of my friends' house and I saw the other man cut the grass. And I said, "What happened?" He said, "Well, my lawnmower broke and he just wanted to come over and cut it." I said, "I understand. Why? Because rules are put in place for a reason. Because people have what they call home value. They don't want their property value going down because your yard looks like um, the grass yay high. You have to bob and weave through the grass and hope the snake don't get you. So we have rules, you know, when even in what we call prison, there are rules. You can't go here, you can't go there. You gotta be escorted here. And you say, "Man, there's too many rules in here, man. I got to get out of here." And when you get out, you start putting down rules in your house. You got to be in here by 9 o'clock. You can't hang out all night. And you see how your children, well, Dad, why I can't hang out all night? You're gonna get in trouble out there. So my whole thing is that rules sometimes become authoritarian to help us to be a balance. And sometimes we look at those rules and say, they just messing with me, you know. Why I gotta follow these rules? And then you hear about your friend getting shot while your mom had you safe in the house. And you say, "Thank God mama had me in the house." That could have been me out there. So in hindsight, we it's good to look at things in hindsight, but it's better to be obedient to authority. Because anytime you ask someone in hindsight what they would have did, they always say hindsight is 2020. It's perfect. But if you could have saw that before it got to there, you could have avoided the problem. You could have made it through. You could have made it over safely. So how do we view those that's in authority that as it relates to us? You know, when we speak to one in authority, me and my co-chair, we practice that, yes, sir, no, sir. Because we mentoring young men and they need to see men respecting other men. And then you see their language start changing around. Yeah, Mr. Richard, yes. Then I say, "Did you do that?" "Yes, sir, yes, sir." So the language start changing because we're in authority over those young men. If they hear us talking like, "What's up, man? What's going today?" They're gonna imitate us because that's the only example they have in front of them. And we had one young man. He came up here and cursed everybody out and told them to do this and do that. And some got very upset at him. And I said, "Come on inside," And I sat him down and started talking to him. And then the mother came around. I said, "Well, can he come?" She said, "Sure, he can come." But where did he get that language from? You always have to go back to the root, to the tree, you know. So we have to change our behavior when we're in authority, especially over children, young men, and young women. We can't exclude that because she gonna wear what she see mama wearing. You know, my little granddaughter, she had a little phone up to her ear. Yeah. Just fussing. As my wife said, she just fussing like sassy. Like, but they they don't do what you say. They do what they see. So we must be mindful when we have children in our possession, and we must be mindful when we over a community and we have people in the neighborhood that's under our authority. The police look at as the most abusive as there ever was in the black community because they have authority. When they come at you, it's usually for something bad. So you say, how can I obey the police? And they come in our neighborhood and beat our young up and kill our young. And then you hear about that policeman got shot. You say, man, I know that man was no good. But you don't know how law is going to deliver justice. It's not in our hand. Say, stand still and watch him. And how the Christians say, he going to show up. He going to show up. So we must be patient. We must be resilient. We must be right and exact when we come to how we serve each other when we're in authority over each other. That's very important because one day you're going to be in authority. And you can only just pray that you'll be a good servant of Allah because that's who you are. When you are in authority over somebody, you're a servant of Allah. Just like the vicegerent, you know, that's spoken of in the Quran, he was going to put him over the angels. Well, he did put him over the angels. He put him above the angels. Think over that. So when you look at that type of authority, you say, wow. And we do as the angels did. We start questioning Allah. And then they realize, hey, we better pipe down a little bit. That's like with the child questioning the parents, and they think the parents listening to them and should go down, mama. So what am I saying? I'm saying that everything bad is not bad. And everything good that we perceive to be good is not good for us. It's like mama give us asafoetida and castor oil. It tastes so nasty going down, but that stomach ache goes away. And you feel much better, you know. So it's the same in our community. Some things might don't look like justice. I ain't gonna say might. But it's a good ending coming. That's what Allah was trying to tell the angels. Yeah, He's gonna do all that. But in the end, it's gonna be a good ending. I don't know, all of us would like to live under a peaceful condition in life. A condition where you don't have to be afraid to come out your house. A condition you don't have to worry about your child not coming home. I was looking at the news this morning, and the child got ran over by a car. And the deputies came up, and the mother said, I already knew. I saw the look in their eyes that my son was no more. So we must be grateful to Allah and thankful to Allah for what He has given us. Because some people are not here today. They have perished. So we're still here. We still can be impactful in our community, in leadership positions. So I had one minister, brother, he was saying, "Oh, I want to make ministers." I'm like, "Why would you want to make ministers?" He said, "Brother, this is the class for ministers only." But he had his reasons behind that. He wanted to make leaders. That's why we have imam class, a minister class, to turn out leaders. These people aspire to be leaders. Some don't know the burden that they take on when they become in leadership role, and some become abusive. So I'm still with respect for authority, because you're going to see that, and we have seen it, and you're going to keep seeing it until he overturns. He keep overturning and overturning and overturning this game called life. Allah is the best knower when we go through our difficulties, when we go on our jobs and we have abusive leadership. How do you handle it? How do you deal with abuse? Can you still respect authority and let Allah handle it? He got you. He has you in our terms. So as I go through some of these study guides and building a community that's put out by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, that you could come in a setting like this JUMUAH and give praise to Allah and still serve the community. Don't look at where it come from. Look at what it's saying. And how you can benefit from respect for authority. These study guides weren't designed for Muslims or Pacific. They was designed for the community. And that's why I feel that it wouldn't be robbery for me to bring that into the house of Allah and read the scriptures of Allah that pertains to community and how to build a successful community. It has to be God-based. Allah has to be the author of everything we do. As I read before, in that word authority is the word author. Well, who's not the author? Allah is the author. He gives permission. If I get up here and think I'm boasting and think I'm all that, you see, Brother Rich grabbed the left arm. He went down. I'm not the author of anything. We have to become a better servant to Allah. That's the goal. That is the goal. Then we can hit the mark. When I go to the range to qualify, they say, you got to hit the mark, Muhammad. You got to lean in and you got to aim. And then you got to pull the trigger salt. You got to hit your mark. You're not going to hit the mark without Allah. He has to be encompassing everything that we do. He has to be at the forefront, and then you see clearly the mark that you're trying to hit. What is the mark that we're trying to hit? To free a slave. We ain't talking about one with the chain around the neck and bonded. We talking about one that's enslaved to this world, that's in servitude to this slave and won't let this world go and worship one God. We talk that, I believe in God. Oh, my job call. take off, So it's like it was said in the lessons about the child, and disregarding the parent when the parent brings him something that conflicts with his religion that he been taught. So we must stay steadfast. We must stay prayerful. We could be in here working, and my coach says, "All right, bro, Rich, it's time for prayer." And in my mind, yeah, you're right. Let's go. And he's steadfast on prayer, and we have to be. And that keeps us in our right mind when we're making decisions that's going to affect other people. How you going to make a clear decision and you haven't asked the law for guidance? So I end this by saying, if I said anything that you heard that was wrong, blame that to Brother Richard. But if I said something that inspired you and that you got something out of, you give that to Allah. I'm not that bright yet. But if I stay on course, it'll put you somewhere to see how you behave. But I don't want to hold the believers too long. Like I said, anything that you got of good comes from Allah, and anything you received of bad comes from man. So we want to make that clear, because He's the ever-knowing, the ever-existing, the everlasting. He's here after we dead and gone. So I leave you with the greeting words as I came at Assalamu alaikum.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladina an'amta alayhim. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladhdallin.
Amin.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq min sharri ma khalaq wa min sharri ghasikin idha waqab wa min sharri nafathati fil uqad wa min sharri hasidin idha hasad. Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
Sami'allahu liman hamidah.
Rabbana lakal hamd.
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladina an'amta alayhim. غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين
آمين.
قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدر الناس من الجنة والناس. الله أكبر.
الله أكبر.
بسم الله لمن حمده
ربنا لك الحمد.
الله أكبر.
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 السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
فاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين.
Assalamu alaikum. I'd like to start off by saying I bear witness that there's no God but Allah and Muhammad is his messenger. And I want to welcome the believers and the ones in the listening audience to Masjid An Nasr, meaning the help and the programs that we run here. We run the food pantry, we got a youth mentoring program, and we're looking at expanding and growing. Before I bring up my co-chair, I want to recognize Brother Imam and want to ask him, do you want to address the community, Brother Imam? Okay. That's part of respect for authority, because I didn't want to catch you off guard, but I gotta respect authority, brother. You're the senior brother here that does. Yes, sir. So we have to practice what we preach, and I have to be mindful of that moving forward. So I'll bring up my co-chair, Brother Jarvis Elamini. Come up and say a few words.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له أشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. I'd like to greet my brothers and sisters, believers in Islam, Al-Islam, and greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum. Just want to say to you, just wonderful day to be a Muslim. You know, we should be very proud and thankful for our religion of Al-Islam. Say it loud. We Muslim and we're proud. Say it loud. I mean, we should be proud to be Muslim. You know what I think about, and before I get to the announcement, I think about the principles that Allah gave us to live by. How they affect our life so much. And all we have to do is practice it. It's going to make our life better, you know? So we have to understand that we have to be practitioners of the word. And then I think about when we don't practice it, when we don't practice what we have, how it don't work out good for us. We have to practice what we've been given from Muhammad the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So be grateful, be thankful. Just want to say that tomorrow is a big day for us. We'd like to get the believers to come out tomorrow. When we do events, we really want the believers to come out and show forth our support for our own event. So we have an IT boot camp tomorrow, and for single mothers and for high school graduates, like anybody who want to have a career change, you know, where you can get career counseling, educational counseling, entrepreneurs that want to get in IT. We're talking about cybersecurity, data engineering. We're talking about coding, jobs that you can work from home. See, this was a good effect of COVID. A lot of jobs you can work from home now. They don't even want you to come to no building. They want you to do it from home. You just got to have the right equipment for the computer, and you can sit at home, set your own schedule. You can have a background and still make $150,000 a year. So if you got grandchildren, you got people in the community, you got a neighbor that you got little Johnny running around the neighborhood, terrorizing the neighborhood, tell his mama, bring him over here tomorrow. Let's try to have a good, we got 37 Muslim brothers that's in IT. They come in volunteering for free to give us guidance on how to get in IT. You know, I'm trying to get my daughter here. She's 23. You know, trying to get started with our own children and grandchildren. So that's number one. So tomorrow we're going to be at 9 o'clock, 9 to 11. It's a sharp 9 to 11. This ain't no 9:30 to 1 o'clock. This is a sharp 9 to 11. Our summer youth camp is winding down. It's going so great. We've been having guest speakers come in. Had a brother that came in Thursday, because Tuesday was a holiday, came in Thursday talking about goal setting. You got to see the little young people's eyes going, how to set a goal. You want to be a football, here's what you got to be to get into sports. And he was just engaging them, the boys and the girls. And I felt so good that we're doing something that's impactful in the community, that's changing lives, impressing these little boys' life. And so we that's going great. So we want to take them on the 25th. If you'd like to be a part of, make a contribution toward our field trip,
We're going to take them over to St. Petersburg to the Carter G. Woodson African American Museum. Because when we did the assessments, when we started, none of them know nothing about their culture. So that's a great thing we're doing. And the last thing I want to talk about is our efforts to stay active in the community, to stay active and talk to people about Islam like we did in the old days. Invite people to come on Friday. Invite them to come so they can learn what we're all about. And the respect in our community is growing and growing. So we do have a few, some bean soup left. We have some nice items for the pantry. The pantry is, they give them, things been so tough, the pantry is slowing down what kind of food they got there now because the need is so great. So tell us, they said, you got to come back and look at all the free shelves, or otherwise you're going to have to buy the food. You know, so this thing is getting serious out here. So we want to be able to keep providing food. Families are coming in need, and let's work together. And I want to say this in my conclusion. Let's grow closer together, brothers and sisters. Let's do like we used to do in the old days. Let's invite each other to dinner. Invite each other to each other's house, have dinner with each other. Let's really get to know each other, become a community. For real. That you know each other. Let's don't just be knowing each other from Friday. Let's see somebody from Friday. If I see somebody else other than Brother Abdul Malik and Brother Chairman through the week, I'll be happy to see somebody else that I don't see but on Friday. You know, I mean, we really would like to see you more. You know, just come on and just try to engage the community. And it'll do your heart well. You know, it'll do your heart well. So thank you, brothers and sisters. Thank you for bearing with me, because I'm loving what we've been able to do in this community. I feel like I'm living the life that Allah given me to live, and I'm happy for it because I come from a bad environment. When I go back to my little country town, I said, boy, that could have been me. And I'd be so happy. When I look at them boys, Shakur, I said, boy, look here. Some of the boys my right-hand man, they ain't doing too good. And so that started getting me just kiss the Quran and love is love. But thank you. We love you. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Assalamu alaikum.